Welcome to Dad's Pad. This week we're talking to Kenneth Braswell. Thank you so much, Mr. Braswell, for joining us on Dad's Pad. Thank you so much for having me. So tell us a little bit about Fathers Incorporated. Fathers Incorporated is a national not-for-profit 501c3. We've been established since 2004. Our work is around capacity building and training for organizations specifically seeking to provide services for not only men, but for fathers, and specifically in our lanes with black men of color. You know, I got a chance to attend the 1995 march, and I can tell you it was one of the best experiences I've ever had. Did you attend the march? You know, I had the pleasure of planning our local organizing committee in Albany, New York, Black Families United, we called it, and had the pleasure of attending the march and being there a few days before the march took place. And we got a chance to talk to a lot of the brothers from around the country and really get a sense as to why people were converging on Washington, D.C. in 1995. And we got to the march about 5 a.m., October 16th, not knowing what to expect, and turning around and looking into a sea of black faces, the faces of black men, was just an overwhelming experience. And I think I've been motivated over the last 20 years to somehow not only get myself back to the feeling of that experience, but to get my community back there as well. And I think one of the other things that people are a little bit nervous about is this whole notion of justice or else. I think people are a little nervous about what the minister means by or else. How are you interpreting that, and how are you including that in the implementation of the plans that you have for the Million Man March? You know, I think a lot of people are nervous about the or else moniker. I even had to look at it with respect to the work that we're doing. And I think what I've resolved with my work and my inclusion is the same thing that I had to come to the conclusion of in 1995, which was, what was my space in this? And why is this march and why is coming together in D.C. important to me? And just like the minister called for men to atone back in 1995, and we had to really think about what that meant for us, I think we have to do the same thing about the or else. I see the or else as a consequence, not an action. I think that we've been living an or else experience since 1619 when the first slave touched land in this country. I think that everything we do has an or else reality. Or else doesn't have to be something bad, although sometimes it is things bad, but or else is also a piece of accountability, something that forces us to begin to look at ourselves with respect to if we don't do the right things, if we don't stand up for our community, if we don't vote, if we don't watch the way we consume media, if we don't raise our children, if we don't stay in committed relationships. There's a lot of things that we do wrong that has consequences. And a lot of those things also affect the level of justice that we get. You know, if we're not consistent in advocating, if we're not consistent in attending PTA meetings, all of those things have an or else consequence. And so I don't see it as this bad thing happening that people are going to get crazy. It did not happen in 1995. It has not happened since then. And I don't believe it's going to happen here in 2015. But I do think that we need to pay close attention with respect to how or else happens in our own life under our own accountability. So you have an exciting campaign. It's called The Honorable Man, and I've seen a lot on the internet. I see fathers from around the country are signing up. Tell us a little bit about the Honorable Man campaign. You know, this year we decided to look at fathers because that's what we do. And in this instance, looking at black fathers. We are always trying to put an adjective in front of fathers, whether it is responsible, deadbeat, absent, good, bad, or whatever we tend to call fathers. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to look for the honorable fathers, those fathers out there who stand up to be honorable, those fathers who are conscious of their duty and responsibility, who live with a level of distinction, who focuses on everything they do with excellence, who is willing to give, willing to mentor, willing to love, give of himself, and more importantly, take care of themselves. Honorable men take care of themselves, because if they don't take care of themselves, they can't take care of anyone else. And so what we decided to do was to start a campaign and to actually ask men to sign up to commit to those 10 character traits of an honorable man. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to get 20,000 black fathers before the Million Man March. And we're not at that number yet, but we're in almost 300 cities across this country where fathers have signed up for the Honorable Man campaign. And we are still encouraging. We're going to keep this campaign going until we get to 20,000 and past it. And so the Honorable Man campaign is just that, being able to identify where the honorable men are, and in this instance, the honorable fathers in this country. I'm sure with everything that you're doing, including the Honorable Man campaign and the activities around the march, that you have some sense of outcomes that you would like to see after the march is over. What do you think, and what are you thinking about with respect to outcomes after 2015? You know, I think we have a lot of expectations for this particular Million Man March. I think we had a lot of expectations in the last Million Man March. We have a campaign and have done a survey, and I think about 75% of the people who've responded to our survey did not attend the march in 1995. Whether or not they were around in 1995, didn't attend it, or too young to attend the march in 1995. I think you're going to see a bunch of new faces with unrealized expectations, just like we had in 1995. You're going to see a lot more children. You're going to see a lot more women. You're going to see a lot more media. I was doing some research the other day on the year of 1995 and learned that in 1995 was when they introduced the media of DVD. DVD didn't exist prior to 1995. They actually introduced the medium of DVD. You didn't have cell phones, you didn't have pictures, we didn't have iPads, and so much of what we experienced intimately in 1995 was not captured. I think you're going to see a lot more media attention, people doing Periscope, people doing FaceTime, all kinds of images over the media. And I just pray that those media images are so positive that it just overwhelms the internet. In fact, hopes that it just shuts it down, you know, for a day with the positivity of black people. So thank you, Mr. Braswell. It's been great talking to you. I think people are going to get a lot out of this conversation. Tell us how we can get in touch with Fathers Incorporated. You can get in touch with Fathers Incorporated several ways. Our website is www.fathersincorporated.com. If you Google Fathers Incorporated, we pop up all over the place. We have a Facebook page. We have a Twitter account. Our Twitter account is @FathersIncorp. Please join us and follow us via Twitter and on our Facebook page, through our other mediums, to which we have products, our Spit and Anger DVD at spitandanger.com. Again, Google us, Fathers Incorporated, however and whatever is your favorite medium to follow and do whatever you do on media. I'm sure you'll find Fathers Incorporated there. Again, thank you for joining Dad's Pad. Thank you so much for having me.